Hello there, my fellow meatbags. So today we have got a little bit of a different video, because for the first time in many months, we have actually got an update on the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. No, they didn't go into detail on what the game is going to be like, or the gameplay, or what changes they're making, or how hot Bastille is going to be in the Unreal Engine. It's more about the development process of the game, and when in actuality we may hear more or potentially see more about it in the future. So many of us know when they announced the KOTOR Remake all the way back in September, they made it explicitly clear that we wouldn't be hearing much about it for a while, and they didn't lie about that. It is now May 2022 and the game was announced 8 months ago, and we haven't heard a single thing about it, and I mean nothing, not even a peep. However, the owners of Aspyr, the Embracer Group, had their Q4 financial report today, and during a QA section, one of the questions asked was the current status of the Knights of the Old Republic remake, of course. And as of right now, they are very confident that the Knights of the Old Republic remake will be going ahead to be one of their most successful and biggest selling games of all time. So they definitely have high expectations and they want to get it right. They also went on to say that it's going to be a massive product and it's going to take a lot of time and effort to make. And of course, I've said this many times before in the past, the game has been in active development coming up to about half a year now, and it's also been in pre-production for ages. So I still believe that we are still in line to see this game in 2023 or at the very latest 2024. And I say this because 2023 is the 20th anniversary of Knights of the Old Republic. I think one of the best things they could possibly do is line it up with that hype and with that memory, and to have the game release in that summer just as it did originally in 2003. But as we all know, games can get delayed, games can have development cycles that don't go fully to plan and fully to schedule, so they end up getting pushed back, but I do think 2023 is the date that they are aiming for. However, to shake things up, Aspyr aren't the only company that are working on the remake, and this is where some of the more interesting information comes from. The Embracer Group also acquired another company known as Saber Interactive, who became a direct subsidiary of the Embracer Group, but they maintain their own development autonomy within the overall hierarchy of the company. And Aspyr themselves are currently a subsidiary of Saber Interactive within the Embracer Group. It's all a little bit confusing, I know, but it is what it is. And so, Saber Interactive are actually supporting Aspyr on the creation of the remake. Now, we don't know to what extent how much Saber are impacting or supporting the game's development. However, I personally think that this is a very good thing for us, and I actually think it's a very good thing for the game and for Aspyr. If you're unfamiliar with Saber Interactive, they've been around for a good while now, over 20 years, and one of their big projects that we all know about is Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary. Saber were directly employed by Microsoft to make the remaster for the original Halo, which was a massive success. I'm sure many of you have already played it. And this success then led Saber to also help with the development of the Master Chief Collection and every single individual Halo game within it, which I think is one of the better remasters out there. And they've also worked on quite a lot of other games that you've probably heard of too. They helped with the remaster of the Ghostbusters game, which I personally think is one of the most underrated games of all time. They created the World War Z games, they helped CD Projekt Red with the Nintendo Switch port of The Witcher, and generally this company have a good track record helping companies better their games and making some decent ones in their own right. In case you don't know, they actually just released another game of their own, which is the Evil Dead video game, which to my personal surprise is actually doing really well. And I personally think that a company like Saber Interactive, who have had much experience in supporting other companies, is a great thing for Aspyr. We all know that Aspyr are relatively new to creating their own AAA titles, and so this is a big thing for them, and they want to make sure they are getting it right. And I'm personally glad that they have an experienced company sort of giving them guidance and support where they need it. Now, the second big bit of information that we learned from the Embracer Group's financial report was that it won't actually be too long before we hear more about the Knights of the Old Republic remake. Now, I said this in my last video about the remake, but I think that it was very likely that we would be hearing more about it around a year or so after its initial announcement, so the back end of 2022, And here we are. That's exactly what was announced in the report. As of right now, May 19th, 2022, their stance on the matter was that we'll be hearing more about the Knights of the Old Republic remake in the next several months, and that's a quote. Now, of course, in this context, several can mean anything. It can mean 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 months. But I think to say explicitly within the next several months kind of indicates that we're going to hear about it this year, and we've only got the back end of it to go. One thing that I definitely don't think is going to happen though is Aspyr just kind of coming out of the blue and releasing a trailer or gameplay or information about the game. I think it will be explicitly marketed by Sony. As a matter of fact, I don't even think it's a question, but I could be wrong. However, with that thought process, I'm going to go ahead and say that we'll hear about the KOTOR remake in one of Sony's next big state of plays in the future. I am almost certain that we won't be hearing about the Knights of the Old Republic remake next week at Star Wars Celebration. I really do think that event is going to be explicitly covering the release of Jedi Fallen Order 2 when it comes to Lucasfilm's gaming division. However, as we move into June, July and beyond, that's when I think that maybe we'll start to hear something. There's a rumour going around that PlayStation are going to have one of their big state of plays in early June, so maybe that's a marker for when we may hear more about it. But I think that's too early, so I'm going to go ahead and say that we will most likely get more information about the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake in autumn, or the fall, as you Americans call it. But if I was a betting man, I'd actually put my money on the remake having its first actual appearance at the Game Awards in December. But I would be really pleasantly surprised if we did hear about it before that, and I really hope we do. But I'm personally not going to get my hopes up, and I wouldn't suggest you guys do either. But that is it. That is all the Embracer Group had to say about the Knights of the Old Republic remake, and I want you to let me know in the comment section below, what are you most looking forward to in the remake? I think I've said this before, but I am most looking forward to seeing the Rakata, and another thing that I really hope that they do is they turn the entire sequence on Taris with the rat ghouls into more of a horror kind of experience. I think that would be awesome. Don't forget to like the video and share it with anyone that you may know that loves Knights of the Old Republic, and if you haven't, perhaps consider subscribing so that you are up to date with all of the newest Knights of the Old Republic remake information and content as it comes out. I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, may the Force be with you. Always.